Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hakaraj Raven, and I'm here with my recap and review of Snowpiercer, season number 1, episode number 8, which is titled These Are His Revolutions. And full disclosure, I was provided with a free screener of this episode for review. The opinions that I share are my own. This is not a sponsored video. And yeah, let's get to it. This show has already been renewed for a second season, so yay! Anyway, this episode opened with a voiceover from Ruth, and basically we see Ruth talking about how she is very grateful for what Mr. Wilford has done, what he continues to do, and she is also very unhappy about how certain people aren't grateful for Mr. Wilford and they don't understand how important he is in order to save humanity. So all of that, and while that voiceover is being given by Ruth, we see that Miles is he's now working as an intern engineer, and I guess he's basically sleeping in Melanie's quarters, which is quite interesting. He gets out of his bed and he goes into the engine and he decides to turn on and off these lights to give a signal to LJ. And yeah, I didn't do a recap and review for the previous episode because nothing basically happened. Josie ended up dying after Melanie tortured her, which, yeah, they basically, she's another example of fridging a character, but yeah, I'm not really sure if it's supposed to be 100% fridging, or maybe she had to die in order to create a catalyst for this current revolution. But yeah, so Layton ended up going to LJ and he's like, LJ, would you like to know the dirtiest secret on the train? So now LJ is working for Layton, and Layton wants LJ to see with her own eyes that Mr. Wilford isn't on the train. So after Miles gives the signal, LJ goes, and LJ is very surprised to see that she's working with a kid. And Maya's like, yeah, you're in the engine. I just want you to see that Mr. Wilford isn't here. But LJ decides to go into the actual engine, and she goes behind Harvey. And at first I was like, is she going to scare Harvey or something? But no, she decides against it, and she goes into Melanie's room. And this is where she figures out that Melanie is the one who's controlling everything, and now she's going to use the information against Melanie. And before she goes, she takes this picture of Melanie and her daughter with her. Over in third, we get to see this character, and she's taking a message to the person who works for Audrey, and it's basically a message telling that LJ is back in her apartment and that she knows the truth and that now they can all go ahead with their plan. Bess is working with Layton, and Bess tells Layton that she's not really sure where Roche is going to fall because, yeah, maybe they'll have to fight the brakemen. And Layton is like, you know what, Bess, we'll get to this, we'll cross this bridge when we get to it. Bess goes to meet Jinju, and Jinju is like, Bess, what are you up to? Because Jinju can see that Bess has been keeping secrets from her, and then that she's helping Layton. And Bess is like, you know what, Jinju, even if I'm helping Layton, did you know that Melanie ended up putting Layton in the drawers? And she ends up asking Jinju about other dark secrets that are being kept secret in the train. And she just warns Jinju to not come out of the house tonight because, yeah, she doesn't want Jinju to get stuck in the revolution and get hurt. The Foglers ask Ruth to meet them, and Nolan is already there, and this is where Lila Fogler tells Ruth that we have information that Mr. Wilford isn't on the train, and Ruth, we need to get to the bottom of this, and Melanie is controlling everything, and we need to take the control away from Melanie. The scene cuts to Melanie telling Miles that they are going through Chicago, and Miles actually asks Melanie that he has figured out that the train is actually moving quite slow, and every revolution the speed of the train slows down. And Melanie is like, yeah, that's been happening, and that's why the engineers are very important to keep the train moving. This is where Miles also asks Melanie about her daughter, and Melanie is like, she was very nice, she was very sweet, she was also very smart. She was with her grandparents before the train left, but they couldn't make it. So Melanie regrets that decision. And Miles is like, yeah, my parents couldn't make it either, but I have my train mom, Josie. And we already know that that Josie's dead. Melanie gets a call about the first class wanting to meet her, so she goes there. Everyone's standing there, and yeah, Melanie knows that something's up. And Lila is like, Melanie, we know that Mr. Wilford isn't on the train. You are the one who has control of the train, and we want you to get off your position. And Melanie is like, why would you say this? Why would you say all of this? Where are you getting the information from? And this is where LJ is like, I'm the one who gave the information. And Melanie is like, why would you listen to someone as crazy as LJ? And yeah, it's a mess. And Melanie is apprehended. Osweiler and Roche sense that something's up, and Roche is like, you know what, we need to double the patrols. Melanie is in custody, and this is where Root tells Nolan, what if this is a mistake? What if Mr. Wilford is actually in the train? And what if what they're doing is considered a mutiny? And Nolan is like, yeah, we are going to check. So he asks Root to come with him to go and check the engine. While all of this is happening, 3 people from the tail end up getting partnered with other people from third class, so that everyone can play the part that they have to play in the revolution. Melanie is taken to her office, and I'm like, wait, didn't just 2 episodes ago Josie die in this office and everything was frozen up? So how is this office undamaged? I have no idea. Melanie shares this story about wanting to have a picture of her daughter, and the guard is like, you know what, Melanie, make it quick, go and get your picture. And Melanie, while she's faking trying to find a picture, she presses a button which tells Bennett and Harvey to shut the engine down. And yeah, the guards with Nolan are already at the door, and Harvey is like, Bennett, this is our chance, we need to tell Nolan that Wilford isn't here and that Melanie has been making us run the train. And if we don't do that, Nolan is going to kill us. But Bennett is like, no, Nolan, shut the door. But Harvey doesn't shut the door, so Nolan pushes him out. Not Nolan. Bennett pushes him out and closes the door behind Harvey. So yeah, the engine is closed, and Harvey tells Nolan that Mr. Wilford is dead. Root goes into Melanie's room, and this is where she realizes that, yep, Mr. Wilford is dead, and Melanie is the one who has been controlling everything. And she tells Nolan that she wants to see Melanie pay. Bess takes Layton back to the tail, and a guard necessarily stops them. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to allow Layton to go back into the tail. I need to first check with my higher ups. But because one of the people from the tail and one of the people from third class are able to take away all of the communication, this is where Bess ends up attacking the guard, and she takes Layton to the tail, and everyone is happy to see Layton. And they're also like, why is Bess there? And Layton is like, Bess is one of us. And Layton gives a speech about how this is the time that they need to come together. They will be working with the third class people to take control of the train. And everyone is like, one tail. And Layton is like, no, not one tail, one train. So that's their new slogan. These are the 2 people who took away the communication. So while they're making their way back to the rest of the group, Osweiler comes in, and he recognizes lights from the tail, and he is like, yeah, this person is from the tail, arrest these 2. While all of this is happening, Murray, who's the last remaining Australian, he is working with the doctor to take out the tailies that are in the cabinets or the drawers. Because communication isn't working, one of the brakemen runs to tell Nolan about what the tailies have planned, and he goes to the Fogler's house where everyone is, and now Nolan is ready for war. Root goes to talk to Melanie, and I enjoyed this scene. The acting that these 2 actresses did was amazing, and this is where Melanie tells Root the truth about how she's the one who built the train, and Wilford just wanted to sell tickets. He just wanted to live his best life on the train as long as he could, and if Wilford was in charge of the train, they wouldn't have lasted a single revolution. And it was Melanie who has been keeping everyone alive, and when the train was supposed to start its journey, Melanie just left Wilford at the trackside, and Root is like, no, Melanie, you're lying. I don't believe you. And yeah, tomorrow you will be executed, so goodbye. Roche, Osweiler, and the rest of the brakemen are waiting for the tailies to attack them basically, and they're actually quite afraid because the brakemen are a limited people, while the tailies are like what 400 people, so they can't necessarily take them all out. And Bess and Layton come to Roche to talk him to stand down, and Layton tells the third class to join them in this fight because Wilford is dead, Wilford is no more, and the first class also knows about this information. So wouldn't it be better that they don't allow the first class to regain control? So yeah, everyone is on Layton's side now, and Roche stands down. Murray is able to take two of his friends out of the drawers, and it turns out that the person who always remains silent ends up talking in Mandarin. Big John is working with other people to create this weapon, and I was a fan of this weapon. It basically shoots these long rods in order to kill people, and it's giving Nolan a very tough time. And Nolan tells his people to, you know what, keep on charging. I'll go back up, and I'll attack these people from behind. So as Nolan is making his way, he enters Audrey's club in the night car, and this is where a full-on war occurs, and people are dying, people are fighting, there's blood everywhere. The weapon that Big John is using ends up running out of ammunition, and he tells the rest of the people that are with him to run away, and that he'll hold off the guards. And yeah, this is where Big John sacrifices himself so that other people can escape. Layton and his group are able to make Nolan retreat. However, a whole lot of people ended up dying. Before Layton can enjoy the victory, Nolan is back, and he ends up throwing these gas canisters at the people. And while all of this is happening, Melanie is just waiting in her office. It's time for Murray to take out Puck, and he pulls the drawer out, and surprise, the drawer is empty. So turns out that Puck is already with Murray and the rest of the people, and he's being bribed with cake and food because Nolan knows that Pike understands Layton quite intimately, and Pike is like, you know what, you give me more cake and I'll tell you everything I know about Layton. And the episode ends with Layton looking at all of the people who ended up getting wounded in the fight. And according to Puck, Layton is an idealist. He's a good cop. He isn't necessarily a fighter. So he tells Nolan to keep on pressing Layton, because the more carnage that Layton witnesses, he'll break soon enough. Yeah, only 2 more episodes are left. I enjoyed this episode. It was quite action heavy. There were also a whole lot of emotional moments. I'll be doing a written review of this for the Geekiary. The link to the review will be down in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode, and until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you guys later.